Hey there folks, welcome to this video, and here we're going to be talking about some more F1 news. This came from the Japanese Grand Prix. The accusations made by Racing Point that Renault F1 Team are using a form of driving assist. Now, I'll also put a link down in the description below because it probably explains it a lot better and in some somewhat more kind of technical terms. But the ins and outs of it are that Racing Point have said that Renault have been using a form of driving assist, specifically in a kind of automated brake bias switch. So essentially that Renault have been getting this kind of computer to change the brake bias based off of where cars are on the track. Now, of course, driving assists are highly criticised and mostly illegal in Formula 1. Traction control, launch control. Well, sometimes they have a little bit of tolerance in regards to latency with gear shifts. You can look at Alfa Romeo's case where they essentially had a rudimentary launch control in Germany because of a glitch with their clutch. But more or less, not many people get in trouble for it. So there are a couple of points that I want to take from this and a couple of points I want to explore. So firstly is the kind of ramifications this could have on the Constructors' Championship, and it could be absolutely massive because essentially, best case scenario, if Renault are found guilty, they're disqualified from races where they can prove that Renault had done this. That largely depends on Renault admitting they are guilty and the investigators finding that Renault are guilty. So it honestly depends on a lot of things there. If they find that they are guilty, and if Renault admit they're guilty, and they say they did it for one race, and it can only realistically be proven that it was at the Japanese Grand Prix, they'll just be disqualified from that. And what they're also further alleging is that if it was done in more than one race, but was only done in a handful, like say for example it was also done in Russia and maybe Singapore, those results would also be changed and Renault would be disqualified. Or it could be they just don't score any championship points. So that's very much what could happen. Even worse could be they could be thrown out the championship altogether, similar to how McLaren were in 2007 because of Spygate. However, in terms of the picture it has for the Manufacturers' Championship, currently a whole bunch of teams are very closely grouped together. That is 4th, 5th, basically down from 4th. Maybe McLaren, you could argue, are in a bit of a league of their own. Then 5th with Renault, 6th Toro Rosso, 7th Racing Point, 8th with Alfa. In terms of 5, 6, 7 and 8, the points are 77, 59, 54 and 35. And especially with a double points finish last time out for Renault in Japan, the chance that they could lose that could massively implicate them in the championship. They'd lose about 10 points, which would drop them back to where Toro Rosso are, which for Renault on a kind of personal level would be very difficult because they're trying to one-up the Honda power units. And if they're beaten by both the Honda power units and also their own customer team, they must start to feel that something's wrong with the team or the car that's not necessarily engine dependent, and that could potentially have ramifications on the team longer term, especially if they're thrown out the championship overall. Renault, we don't know if they're committing beyond 2021. We're pretty sure they are, but we can't say that we're certain. So we don't know if this could be the thing that takes Renault out the sport, much like how 10 years ago another kind of investigation took them out of the sport. That one was Crashgate, however. That one was more a deliberate crashing thing and not a kind of technical rules infringement. But then again, I'm mostly interested in how Racing Point found this out. I'd love to wait to see what the kind of evidence is for it. But I'm going to round off with this final point. a lot of this has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt before anything can be done, because, well, we're talking about a lot of money here. And realistically, that's what F1's about. Sadly, it's not about the fans, it's about the money. If they can prove beyond reasonable doubt that the team was guilty, will they be able to prove the drivers were? Will they be able to prove that Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg had an idea that this was going on? Because that's what I think sets it different from things like Crashgate and Spygate, is the kind of level of knowledge. Like, in terms of Spygate, it was basically engineered in a way that the drivers at the time, Alonso and Hamilton, didn't really have much of an idea that this was going on. With Crashgate, the idea was that Piquet knew what was going on, Alonso kinda didn't. With this, it'd be interesting to figure that out. And if it could be proven beyond reasonable doubt that they did know, should Ricciardo and Hülkenberg also be thrown out of the championship? I'll leave that up to you to have a bit of a debate about in the comments if you want. My view is, if they did, they should at least get some kind of reprimand. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.